Before we begin, I just want to say this topic I honestly don't find too important. I find 343's sound design to be very strong, which must be pretty shocking because apparently I'm a 343 hater, says a few random poorly structured comments. But on my videos about the art style, a surprising amount of people requested that I discuss the sound design, and since I am your content producer and it is my job to deliver you whatever you want, I'm like a horagok with a bomb on my back. If I don't do what you say, you're just gonna blow me up. Or just leave me and I'll be left alone with no purpose in my life, aside from putting tiny hats on my pet hamsters that I buy one after the other, or do fun things with arts and crafts, and babysit like 7 different dogs. Unlike the new art style, where I could make a very strong and convincing argument that a majority of people strongly dislike the new look of Halo, the sounds are a different beast entirely. This one is actually pretty mixed. It's almost split down the middle, 50-50. Some people love the new sound work, and some people hate it. Now, for the people that hate the sound work, they say that they find it weird how Halo 3, a game released in 2007, has superior sound design or superior sound quality to Halo 5, a 2015 game. Now, I will do my best to be neutral and not let my opinions influence this discussion, and I'll try to explain why I believe some people may not like these sounds as well as why some people do. But first, we need some setup. Let's talk about the difference between sound quality and sound design, because I see a lot of people in my comment section confusing the two. They will say that the sound design of 343's Halo sucks because the Magnum sounds more pew than the Halo 3 Magnum, which is more bang bang. Then people will say the same thing, but call it the sound quality. What is sound design? Well, sit tight because over the last 3 or 4 days I've been listening to lectures on sound design in gaming and movies for close to 8 hours every day as I do my daily routines with brief pauses to take notes and do research on certain topics, which means I am now an expert on sound design and am more qualified than anyone in the world to discuss this. You know Christopher Boyes? The guy who did the sounds for the Lord of the Rings trilogy? I taught his teacher! In order to properly judge 343's sound design, what are some of the things that sound design can do for your game? For starters, it can create the mood. It can help the player know if they should feel uneasy in a zombie-infested city, or be enchanted by an ancient alien world coming to life. It can inform the player of the properties of their surroundings, such as seeing fire and hearing the fire, or hearing scary, horrifying screams as they quickly approach you from behind outside of your field of vision. It can sometimes tell you things about a character, like how heavy they are, what they're wearing, and so on, and so on, and so on. Obviously, those are but a few examples because, quite frank, sound design makes up at least half of a game, in my opinion. You can make a game look damn near photorealistic, but if it sounds like this... Tap, 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 tap. I've been shot. Then it will break all immersion for the player. What are the 5 families of sound design? We have dialogue, sound effects, music, Foley on a player's avatar, and ambiance, or background noise. Dialogue speaks for itself. When a character talks or yells or grunts or anything, this is dialogue.
I will provide access. I will remain here and scan the ring structure while you investigate the facility for intel and the...
When a noise is projected from something, that's a sound effect.
Come on!
Music, it's exactly what it sounds like. Foley are the sounds you, the player, make as you're shuffling around in your armor, heavy footsteps, and etc.
Why?
We still need a ride home.
And ambiance is the overall sound of the level and things that you hear in the background that aren't necessarily triggered by something in the game, like an actual object moving around and stuff. Now, since sound effects can be interpreted in a lot of different ways, I will address some of the rules of if something needs a sound effect applied to it. These aren't all of the rules, but these are some of the basics. Can it spark a reaction from a player? Can it move? Is it supposed to be making a noise? Can it tell the player something that they can't see in the immediate instance or help build the environment that they're in? If it falls into any of these rules, then yeah, it probably does need a sound effect. What should you be asking yourself when you design a sound effect? What is this thing made of? What should we expect it to sound like? What will it make the player feel in response to it? Now I'm going to use a mug in an office as an example because it's such a simple sound effect. Do you hear the sounds of an office? Yeah, you know where you are. It sounds like an office. Oh, did you hear that? Someone dropped their coffee somewhere. Now the thing is that you can design the perfect sound effect for a coffee cup dropping, but things rarely sound exactly the same every single time in real life when they're repeated. When designing sound effects, let's pretend that we're designing a game about dropping coffee across the world. It's very important for me to design at least 6 different sound effects for each different surface across the world that you'll be dropping this coffee cup, like metal or sand or wood or so on. This ensures that the sound of coffee spilling doesn't get irritating to listen to because it sounds the same every single time. For example, listen to this. Now that's not to say that this is better sound design. Meow. Meow. Because remember, what should we expect it to sound like? A punch should sound like a punch, not a bunch of kittens meowing. And I'm pretty sure we don't expect multiple punches to sound exactly the same way. Now with the knowledge that we've learned about sound design, let's go into a level of Halo 3's campaign. Make sure that you're wearing your earphones, and as we go through this, even if you have to pause it, I want you to try to take notes. Remember the 5 families that I discussed, and try to point out each individual little bit of sound design as this level is progressing.
Chief, please respond. What is your status? Over. If you can hear me, find transport. Head to the town of
Settle down, Marines. If you can walk, set your boots on the line.
Okay, and now let's do the same with Halo 5.
It must be something big.
One hell of a trap.
Contact.
So based on what we just saw and what we learned, 343 pays a lot of attention to sound design, same with Bungie. Obviously I use different scenarios, but you're starting to see the picture. 343 does have some strong sound design. What people really have gripes with is the quality of the sounds. In part 2 we will be discussing the quality of the sounds, and also talk about another part of good sound design. What is the balance between good realistic sounds and overwhelmingly realistic sounds that can actually negatively impact the game. And guys, if you enjoyed the video, remember to leave a like and share it around to your Reddits, your Facebooks, your Twitters, and what haves you. And I actually have a task for all of you. So I want you all to play your favorite Halo level, doesn't matter what Halo game it is, and in the back of your mind, as you play through the level, I want you to remember everything, remember everything that we talked about. I want you to plug in your earphones, and I want you to try to identify every single little sound that you come across and try to categorize it into the different families on the fly as you play the level. It really adds a whole new layer to the levels, and you may even notice sounds you never noticed before. And just, remember to keep on being awesome.